Welcome to Bitstorm, a comedy game design podcast for two guys who know nothing about comedy nor game design. I'm Trevor Scott, and with me again is Ben Slinger.
Again, as if like you skipped the "is always" because you'd think I might run off to Canada again. Is that it?
Yeah, I'm thinking so.
I'm just a regular recurring guest host now.
Yeah, until you get your stripes back.
Oh shit! Got to pass some tests. All right, are they click pitch tests? Because I think that's what we're going to start with.
Yes, it is.
Later in the show, we are going to do some movie tie-ins with some suggestions from listeners. But first, we're going to do some classic click pitch for those who are just joining us this episode. Click pitch is a game where we each have a random word generator in front of us, and on the count of 3, 2, 1, click, we will get a new word and mash them together and create a game design. So, should we click?
Yes, we shall. 3, 2, 1, click. Sputtering.
Howl. Like, oh, 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 howl.
And sputtering as in, I don't know.
Go on.
Something that sputters.
Like a car running out of petrol?
Yeah.
Well, there you go. There's our two things. You are in a car that's running out of petrol, and there are lots of wolves around. So you have to, I don't know. There's not much interesting about that idea. Then it just becomes fight off some wolves.
Okay. So in this game, it's sort of melding a couple of things together. Your character is a mechanical wolf.
Okay.
And it's getting a little bit old. And you've got to feed the wolf petrol and oil and all other sort of things to keep it running.
Like feed yourself, you mean? You have a mechanical wolf, yes, or you are a mechanical wolf?
Yeah, okay. You are a mechanical wolf. So the gameplay is scavenging, but you're scavenging, for petrol, oily rags, anything
Chrome,
to keep yourself going.
To make yourself nice and shiny. Just give yourself a nice polish. Yeah, you got to look good as a mechanical wolf. I'm
also thinking that maybe this entire world is mechanical.
Oh, okay, yeah. I was thinking this is like maybe a Pinocchio sort of situation where you had a creator, and that you could bring in some sort of interesting narrative around trying to find the person who created you, or I don't know.
Yeah, could do that as well.
You jumped at that one. Well, I guess the thing is, if everyone's mechanical, I mean, for one, I see a good side of that in that everybody's going to be fighting for these resources, right? Because everybody needs the petrol and the oily rags and whatever, the occasional tune-up. But also, in a world like that, presumably they're going to be somewhat abundant. I mean, I guess it could be sort of a post fossil fuel world where there's not much of it left, and so everyone's kind of resorted to fighting over the last scraps of the life force that runs this society.
Because I mean, the reason why I was sort of looking at that is because I thought it might be fun to have a wolf, having to kill mechanical birds and then gradually make its way up through.
I'm pretty sure a mechanical wolf killing anything is going to be fun. Like, you're a fucking mechanical wolf.
Yeah.
Maybe the goal is, maybe this can be like a climate change parable, and the goal is to scavenge enough stuff to make yourself solar powered.
What happens renewable at night? You're just going to have a massive battery.
Yeah, battery's a part of it. Or, I don't know, get yourself some wind power as well. Let's get a little turbine up there on your head.
Nice. Any other ideas that you've got around? Well, I'm thinking it's got to be like third person.
Yeah, I think so. You want to see this kick-ass mechanical wolf as it bounds around the forest, the city.
Yep, and disembowels, cars and
disem engines or something. If they're all mechanical, they probably don't have bowels. Disem gears. Yeah, I like that. I wonder if, well, okay, I mean, in a world, let's explore this a little bit more, because I do like the idea of there being, I don't know, some sort of narrative in here. Stories, games like this can't just be pure gameplay. So, in a world where everything is mechanical, who who are the creators? Like, who builds new wolves and birds, and are they mechanical humans as well? Like, what else is in this world?
I think that maybe that's part of the mystery. That's part of, at first it's just you as the player are only presented as seeing, okay, all the animals in this world are mechanical.
Yeah.
And you maybe see like an egg-shaped sort of thing as you see a bird sort of get hatched out of it, but the bird is sort of almost fully formed already.
Okay, so they're still hatching out of...
Like,
is it like a Fabergé egg or something?
I'm thinking it's like an egg that, it's a metallic egg, and the like it can't actually be broken. It
doesn't it? It's just like sort of
opens up on a hinge.
Yeah,
sort of
or
thing.
Like has opens up in one of those nice, like, the top just sort of comes open in a I don't know what the shape would be. You know what I'm talking about. You can imagine it. Just picture it. The sound should tell you everything. Well, what I'm thinking is as you go through this world, and I mean, I don't know how intelligent these creatures are supposed to be, or the wolf that you're playing is supposed to be, but you could sort of start revealing things about how the world got this way, and maybe you start sort of following these clues to, and the sort of the last level is you come across this little shack in the middle of the woods, and you go in there and there's a human in there, and this is Geppetto. This is the guy who fucking started off creating mechanical things that could reproduce or something and destroyed the world because they just took everything over.
Yep.
So along the way, you do find sort of scraps of human civilization left behind, but all the robots have just taken their place, including possibly like robotic humans. I don't know. Maybe the robotic humans literally just took over the lives of the regular humans because, they were designed to assimilate.
Yeah, could very well be that.
Not quite as violent. Like, I mean, it was violent, but because that reminded me of the Borg, which is a similar sort of thing. But I'm just thinking they literally just like destroy these humans and take their places and go on living their lives because of some like bug in their programming. Maybe it's that they were supposed to help out humanity and they just went too far and decided, well, we can just do this better.
Okay, let's continue on. 3, 2, 1, click.
Okay. Outbreak.
Blacklist.
Outbreak. Okay.
Have you got an idea?
Well, I don't know if it'll make a game, but I did think of it being a social media sort of thing where all the fucking trolls and horrible people on the internet who are in your blacklist manage to break out. But then that's just then they're just harassing people, and that's not actually a fun game. So I'm not sure that's the direction we should go in. What else do you blacklist?
Okay, so have you ever seen the TV show The Blacklist?
No.
Basically, James Spader has like a list of people who have never really been heard of before, or if they have been heard of, they're pretty well known as like the worst people in the world.
Okay.
And so they go and take out one at a time. So I'm thinking it's you play like an investigator who has access to the blacklist.
I mean, let's just license it, man. We get James Spader.
No.
Okay, you're going in a different direction.
No.
All right.
No, they got a blacklist of the world's worst trolls, and the idea is that you got to go and like take them out.
Okay.
So it's taking your idea of like
right.
the world's worst trolls have managed to work out how to get out of everyone's block list, and so
James Spader has been called in.
Everyone, and your James Spader like character that you play,
James Spider,
has to go out there. James Spider, yep, and basically the entire game's called The Block List.
Okay.
So you're now going out there trying to work out how to put all these trolls behind the block list again.
Oh, so you're not actually killing them?
You're taking them out of like
society.
Technology, whether it's through
maybe,
killing
okay,
or whether it's through like re-education or re-education.
God. All right. So, we should mention that when we say trolls, we obviously like. I feel like trolls in this day and age now is a bit too weak of a word for the types of people we're talking about, who would probably still like to call themselves trolls. But anyway, I guess we're talking racists and misogynists and abusers and harassers.
Pretty much. So
this could be a bit cathartic for certain people, perhaps. What's the gameplay? We're talking Hitman style. Like, is it? So you're saying you got options? You just have to make sure that they can't get on social media anymore.
Well, I'm wondering, would it be cool to actually have this as like a "Where in the world is Carmen Sandiego" like interface?
You're like tracking them down on the internet. Like, there's a bit of sort of
tracking them down on the internet
happening.
So, yeah, so you got a few hacking mini games and that sort of stuff. You've also got like, if you remember Where in the World is Carmen Sandiego, you have like
clues,
the clues saying where the next IP bounce is happening, and it could be just a new version of that Carmen Sandiego style gameplay that I used to love as a kid.
Right. So what happens when you find them though? So you track them down, you know where they are. You hack into their webcam. You see this pasty white guy who thinks that the world owes him something.
Yep.
And
then you swat him.
Well, I don't want to encourage that.
Okay. Well, then you
send an EMP blast down the wires and take out all his technology.
Send an explosion.
Well, I mean, if it ends up resulting in an explosion, then
I just watched the Pickle Rick episode of Rick and Morty again, where he sends an explosion down the internet. I was just thinking about that.
Yeah.
But no, maybe it's now that you've found out who it is, then you can
publish their words to their Facebook pages directly onto their mum's wall. And all their friends.
Even better, their grandma's wall.
Yeah. All right.
I'm just trying to think of, better punishments that aren't things that people actually do to other people at the moment.
I mean,
and really
it's hard,
publishing all their information is just pretty horrible too. So it's sort of like maybe when you do actually catch them, just like in Where in the World is Carmen Sandiego, then they get arrested by the local police.
Yeah, they should be arrested, these people. So okay, that's fine. You're just tracking them down to be arrested.
Yeah.
All right. Let's click again and let's try to get a word that has nothing to do with the social landscape of today, that we don't have to tread on eggshells. Trying to come up with a game that's not offensive.
3, 2, 1, click.
Plundering.
Rome.
Rome?
As in ROAM.
Okay.
But if you want to, you can take it to
Plunder Rome.
ROME.
No, I think ROAM is a good one. So roaming and plundering. What are you plundering? I mean,
what does it mean to plunder?
I mean, sort of scavenge, isn't it? Like
steal goods from a place or person, typically using force and in a time of war or civil disorder.
It's the sort of thing that pirates do.
Yeah. They also do another couple of things, but we'll stay away from that.
Well, yeah. So,
Okay. This is based in England.
Okay.
This is based in, probably like, I'm trying to think of when this particular character I'm trying to go into would have been around, so probably like maybe the 13th century.
Okay.
It's after what happens after the story of Robin Hood.
Okay, I thought you were.
It's the Merry Men, and
all right. So it starts with Robin Hood's death. It's very dramatic.
Yep, and
Maid Marian is now leading the Merry Men.
All the Merry Men, they've been disbanded from.
We're licensing the old show. Did you ever watch the TV show Maid Marian and the Merry Men?
Yes.
Good. I didn't imagine that then.
Yes, it had Danny John Jules in it.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, anyway.
Sorry.
So Robin Hood has been killed. The Merry Men have been disbanded.
Disbanded.
And so you play Little John and he's roaming the countryside. He's basically got to stay away from Sherwood Forest because of, like, some nasty shit that went down. To stay alive, he has to steal bread and the like to basically gradually build up a new version of Merry Men so that he can go back and take over,
take back Sherwood Forest.
Take back Sherwood Forest and, you know, bring Robin Hood's good name back, sort of thing.
Okay. So it's almost
sort of set after that, but, you know, it's sort of showing that even though Robin Hood lived and, you know, got through all the got rid of the old sheriff, it doesn't mean anything because after he died, it all just went back to shit anyway.
Okay. Is there a new sheriff in town?
I'm thinking so.
Maybe that's Maid Marian in her grief,
or it's Robin and Marion's son.
Okay.
So he's the new sheriff, and he's, you know, you would have thought that he'd follow in his dad's footsteps, and maybe you play Little John's son, Littler John.
I'm gonna shoot up a privilege alert, and let's make it their daughter,
Little Joan.
Little Joan.
What's wrong with that?
Yeah. Wait. So sorry, I might have missed what you said during that. Did you say it's Little John's child as well?
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's, you know, Robin Hood's son or daughter. I kind of like the idea of the son being the bad guy.
All right, let's do that.
Little Joan being the
Little Joan. Yeah, and
so
Robin and Marion's son.
He's playing the.
Sorry, I'm trying to think of a name. Jonathan.
Oh, God.
I just could not come up with anything. Oh, my God. Phoebus.
Okay.
I literally went to a random name generator, and that's what came up. Phoebus, but we're going with Phoebus. Phoebus.
God, this is really going off the rails.
Yeah.
Oh, shit, I've got to edit this week too. Fuck.
Yeah, sorry. Whoops.
Maybe I'll just give it to you and say, well, I'm letting you play with my new VR headset that should be here by the weekend. By the time that everyone's hearing this, I should have my VR headset. Yay.
It's only an Oculus Rift.
Better than what you've got. Google Cardboard.
I have reality. That's my virtual reality. Reality. Oh, that doesn't really work. All right. Anyway,
No.
So
Okay.
you play Little Joe. No, okay. So what I liked about this idea, and I do like the narrative setting and the Robin Hood thing, but what I find interesting is that it's kind of a social survival game in that, you know, like survival games currently on the market where you have to like find food or maybe hunt for food or you know, build traps and build shelter and stuff. But usually you're alone, like, or everyone else is like enemies or just animals that are attacking you or that you have to hunt or whatever. What I like about this is you're in a city or you're in towns, maybe traveling from town to town. And so when you're scavenging, you're not just like setting a trap for a rabbit. You're like, stealing bread from a store or something and having to get away with it. You're basically playing like a street urchin almost.
Yeah. And then as you're going, you're also on the lookout for other like-minded people that you can
exactly, like
form a band of merry people.
Yeah. I really like that. And like, you know, so there's obviously there's currency. You can find money. You could even steal money, but it's always going to be difficult to come across, and you have to really spend it on things that you know, are necessary. Obviously, in a pinch, you can spend it on food. Like you're starving, you haven't managed to steal anything, or you know, you could probably still have hunting stuff. If you manage to eventually come across or buy a bow and arrow, or a staff or whatever, like you can hunt rabbits, you can hunt birds.
Yep.
But if you haven't been able to, and you do have a couple of gold pieces or whatever, then you can buy some food in a pinch. But what you probably want to do is save it up for more of those tools or weapons or
actually, I was thinking in going with what your dad told you stories of was that Robin and the Merry Men, they'd steal from the rich to give to the poor,
right?
And
yes.
So maybe the whole thing is that you get better rewards and more people actually wanting to come and join your team.
The more give away.
If you're giving away all the money. And it's more about you steal to survive because you're just getting by on the basic things.
Yeah.
And that's all you really need. And you're stealing from the extravagant people just to try and be able to give away to other people to get your notoriety up a little bit higher. That brings more people into actually seeking you and your team out.
It could be an interesting sort of moral issue where, obviously you want to steal from the rich, the privileged, the people who are stepping on the heads of the poor people, but you might not have the tools and the capabilities to actually pull that off initially, right? If you're starting with nothing,
you may not be able to actually get into this rich person's house because they've got an amazing lock system.
Yeah, exactly.
But so you've got to spend some money on getting lockpicks so that you can actually.
But I'm saying to even survive in those first days, you might have to start stealing from the people who are already, oppressed and being taken advantage of. And so maybe it's even that maybe you get more notoriety or more benefit if as you go along, you have to remember who you stole from so that you can come back and pay them back tenfold kind of thing. Once you get the skills up, it's like, oh shit, like I took bread from the table of that, house on this corner of this town. And you have to make sure that, 15 hours into the game, you're coming back through that town after, now you have a fucking horse and 4 band members and, bow and arrow and stuff, and you've managed to steal a giant chest of gold that you throw a bag back through that window later,
Yeah, it's certainly got some great implications and just you could actually get rewarded better for doing those sort of things. Maybe you can have, sort of a book that is almost like your thank you book,
like a ledger. You've got your little
ledger of, okay, you're currently well in debt to this person, so you.
But I feel like you need to keep it
have to give
manually. I feel like the game shouldn't keep track of that itself. So, yes, you can write it down, but you have to remember to. And maybe you can take a mental image of it, but you can't. You can't take a photo. You can't. They probably don't have a specific address. All you maybe know is the town name that you're in, and you have to write down or do a little sketch. You can do a little sketch of it, but it's never going to be perfect. And that can be automatic. That's fine. It can automatically generate a sketch for you, but it's going to leave out certain details and stuff.
You know what I would actually love? The art style to change as you get older.
Okay.
So if you've ever gone back to something that you went to as a kid, you see it in a totally different light now, and you go, oh, it's nowhere near as big as what I thought it was. It's also, I thought this was over here, and your brain sort of muddles things up.
Yeah.
So what you could actually do is actually have in literal art design, you sort of have it more vibrant and colourful and cartoony as a kid. And it just
when you come back later, it's more desaturated. It looks more run down, kind of. You don't know. You hadn't noticed all those differences.
Also, a touch different to what you remembered as well. You thought that these houses were, X distance apart, but it turns out that they were right next to each other.
Yeah.
And, change the map just enough to make you start thinking, have I been here before?
I mean, that could be interesting for this mechanic of having to remember who you took from, because, you can take a sketch of it, but the sketch stays in that old art style. So when you come back later and you're looking at it, you're like, wait, is this the right place? And then you're like, oh, wait a sec. Yeah, there's a the picture of a rooster, next to the door, and the one next to it has, crossed swords or whatever. That wouldn't have changed, but it looks completely different otherwise, sort of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting.
I really like this idea just because it's a
I feel like
it's a new take on something that everyone knows the story of.
Yeah, definitely. That's really cool.
And I'm looking forward to the showdown at the end when little Joan comes back to
Phoebus.
To be Phoebus.
Sheriff Phoebus of Nottingham. Well, sorry, before we get to that, though, I was going to say, and I mean, I know we go to this well a lot, but I feel like this could be a really interesting long-form VR game. Just because, and I mean, the movement stuff is obviously going to be tricky because I don't think you should be teleporting around.
Yeah, but people don't like locomotion. That's the problem.
Yeah, I know. It's hard. It's hard.
I mean, I'm going to find out how good my VR stomach is in like the next few days. I'm pretty sure. I remember on the DK1, all you had was controller locomotion, and I was fine.
Yeah,
but as to how things have gone now, it really depends. That's just me.
I've actually never played a game with anything but teleporting.
Room scale.
Well, room scale and teleporting. I mean, and that's generally what it's done, how it's done, right? Like, you teleport to a space and then you can move around within, the surrounding square based on where you're already standing in that space. So, I mean, you could do that in a game like this, but I think you'd have to limit it in situations where stealth is required.
Well, I think it could actually be, an idea for a different type of locomotion in that you don't physically control it with a controller where it's going too fast or anything like that. You can have it that's a sort of teleporting mechanic that you select where you're going and then, your character starts to move in that direction.
I suspect
but just slowly move.
Yeah, I suspect.
So you can look around and do stuff as you're doing that.
Yeah, potentially. That'd be interesting.
It's kind of like a hybrid of.
That'd be interesting to mess with. I wonder if any games have tried that, where like you're selecting where to sort of move the square to almost of your room scale area. You've still got full control over your head movement, because I know that's often what makes people sick, because you try to take control of that. Anyway, we could sort that out in implementation. But yeah, there's just so many different things that could be done. Trying to steal things, trying to pickpocket you. You really have to be very precise. Obviously, bow and arrow sort of stuff works really well in VR. Even horse riding, like that could be a locomotion style. If you're on a horse, you're probably okay. With it moving carriage underneath you, or horse and carriage sort of thing. So you're like sitting on top or sitting inside.
Wouldn't that be cool with like the controllers, having to sort of get the horse to move forward and having to do both.
Oh yeah, wouldn't it,
both things on the reins at the same time?
Like
pull back.
Yeah, like one hand on the reins to still be guiding the horse, and like your sword in the other hand as you're fighting people off.
Sword or one of the new firearms that is now there, or a hand crossbow or something like that.
Yeah, just a sling,
just to be.
That'd be cool. I'd love to use a sling in VR. That'd be interesting. I don't know how I wonder if the physical weight of the rock in a sling is too important for that to work in VR, where you wouldn't be able to feel that, or whether seeing it.
That's why we need the new controllers that have like
haptic
HD
feedback. HD rumble, yeah. I really like this. And then you're building up to, and you presumably have encounters with Phoebus along the way, and kind of discover the relationships.
I'm thinking that you don't have a full meeting with Phoebus. You have meetings with Phoebus's agents. Or
you just see him from a distance. Like, as you get more notoriety, he starts becoming aware of you as well. And so,
I so want him to turn up with a big false nose, though. It's the only thing. It's just like this really long nose.
Why?
Just like, so when you see him later on and it's just slightly shorter, it's just be like, okay. So
like he was in disguise earlier? Okay, I see. What could also be interesting in this, in VR with this, is just those or like conversational mechanics. I haven't seen, kind of dialogue trees or interesting conversation stuff done in VR where it takes into account like where you're looking and things that you do as this conversation's going on,
I mean, if someone's telling you something and you start looking away, they're going to be asking,
yeah, like they could take that into account. Or even just, there's you're in this final confrontation with Phoebus in his like chambers or whatever, and he's monologuing and you're paying attention to him, but there's actually like his guards are coming up behind you. And so there's sort of this stuff that you do need to be paying attention to. But also if you maybe, if you look away from him for too long, he starts getting mad and, they've maybe taken all your weapons at this point or something. So like you're kind of having to balance making sure you're aware of your surroundings, but also not pissing him off because he'll just run you through long enough to,
I'm also
your band of merry people.
I'm also wondering if this would be an ideal time to come up with an idea that there's no real scripted moments that you get caught. So if you're like really good at this game, they don't know what you look like.
Right. Yeah. Okay. That's interesting. It'd be difficult from the narrative point of view, but
also
I like the challenge.
You have the actual, here's your final narrative, but you build, your final narrative is to go and beat Phoebus.
Right.
But
okay.
You
might get there and he's just like, who the fuck are you?
Exactly.
He didn't even know anything was wrong in his or whatever sheriffdom.
And then as you're going through a city, you don't have to worry about being identified as this mysterious hood.
Yeah,
that
you can just walk through, and maybe you've even got a reputation.
And what they've done is they've taken out the old pictures of Robin Hood, so it's just this mustachioed guy, and so little do they know it's just this female. But of course, if you're really, really shit and you get caught, then
all the wanted posters have your actual face on them. Yeah, that's cool. We could do some cool stuff there.
Cool.
All right, let's move on.
I reckon we better get into our other segment, given that we're running extremely late on this one.
So, movie tie-ins. There's the sting. And me saying there's the sting is part of the sting, just so you know.
Okay.
Do you want to explain this one?
So earlier... Well,
here are some we prepared earlier.
Well, last week we decided to send out a little bit of a picture saying we're looking to do some movie tie-ins for either movies or TV shows that don't necessarily have a game idea attached to them yet. Well, we want to attach that game idea. So we asked the public out at AGPN, and we also, I think we asked on Twitter, and we got a few suggestions.
Yeah. So.
Not as many as what we would have liked. But
come on, guys. So we're going to take some movie ideas that people have given us. And
now, unlike last time where we took every single idea,
no, we're definitely not going through all of
them. We've chosen a nice little selection.
Yep.
Of what we would actually like to...
A few that we think. And we did ask for a challenge. And some of these would be quite challenging. And the ones that are too challenging, we're going to ignore. So, sorry. But we do want to make sure we can come up with at least some sort of game idea for them. And I'm sure if we did some of these other ones, we could if we tried. But
so, Ben, would you like to choose first?
We're going to go with a suggestion from Michael Jones, good friend of mine and long-time listener, and we're going to try Anchorman.
Okay, Anchorman.
Anchorman, the Will Ferrell.
So our usual rules around this is we don't necessarily have to follow the movie at all. We can take the title if we decide.
Yeah, if we decide that we just want... If we decide we want a guy who uses an anchor as a weapon and it's a standard beat 'em up, then we might go down that path. But I think let's try to stick with the movie to begin with.
See, I've immediately gone to like an anthropomorphic
anchor. Who's a man. He's just got a face and arms and a penis and legs. It's a sex game. What the anchors fuck? Rocks. The sea.
Okay, so
boats.
if you're thinking from the actual movie, you've definitely got to have that scene where like they all have that massive fight
Yeah,
scene.
of course. I mean, that's immediately where you go from a game point of view. You know, there's a huge scene where all the different news teams just fucking have this huge violent fight. But that should be like that's one big set piece. I don't think that's the whole game. And we need to come up with something around newscasting, news anchoring. So, is this a game where you play what's his fucking name? Ron Swanson. No, that's Ron Burgundy. We could do a Parks and Rec. No, you play Ron Burgundy. You play Ron Burgundy, or you could do it that you are like the editor or something, or like you're in the control room, so you're having to like. It could be interesting to have to run a news show, right? Like switching between your different clips and putting up. You know, maybe you have to do all of the. I don't know. There's a name for it, but like the subtitles and stuff that come up over stories and things. The motion graphics and stuff. You have to like quickly type them in, and there's breaking news, and so you have to like, you know, make sure it's up there properly with no spelling mistakes, and then send out the new pages out to Ron as
and you know where there's someone's put like wrong punctuation in the
in the teleprompter.
In the teleprompter, you know, you've actually got to look over it and you know fix the punctuation and fix the spelling mistakes in there, because otherwise he will read everything that's actually in there.
I like that idea, and I like the idea that we can use a like text to speech for Ron Burgundy. So he will literally read whatever you put into the teleprompter. But yes, there are some things that come through where the meaning of them would be very different based on the punctuation, and you have to make sure to catch it.
My favorite scene
says
is
no money down.
I'm Ron Burgundy.
Oh, yeah.
It's like,
the question mark.
Who put the question mark in there?
Exactly. Well, that's perfect. Then it's thematically correct there as well.
So your character is actually like pretty much like the producer.
Yeah,
and so during the show, you know, you're in charge of Ron and whatever Christina Applegate's
Veronica
character's name was.
Corningstone.
Veronica Corningstone.
I have the Wikipedia
page. They introduce the story, and you've got to make sure the tape is ready to roll at the right time. So you go, okay, go to tape, and you
exactly.
go,
like you have to actually.
You're physically pressing the button on that.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking it's VR.
VR
again. Because I want that, you know, reaching out and
actually hitting the buttons
and picking the tape up and having to, you know, eject it and get into the.
You even have to do the like as they're about to go to air. Well, maybe if you've got the 5 knuckles that can like track your fingers, you have to do the like 5, 4, and like the point.
And point.
You have to do it in time, or he fucks it up. You lose ratings.
Yeah, so I think that could actually be fun, and then maybe your whole thing in the big final fight scene is that you've got to supply weapons to Ron and his team.
Right, so you're like throwing weapons to them for them to attack.
Yeah,
or maybe like guiding them. Maybe you're like pointing at who to attack, or pointing out attackers to them or something. Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, well, and for the sort of standard day to day, I'm almost thinking a kind of Papers, Please sort of framework where you've got like day one, and there are maybe certain events that happen on day one, with branching subplots and different results based on how well you get through them all and stuff.
Oh, and you've got to choose the news stories that they're going to cover that night and that sort of stuff. So
you can. And then you can, at the end of the day, you see your ratings and you figure out why people liked things and didn't. And Ron and his team are just there, like fucking cracking jokes and stuff while you're trying to concentrate. It's all this pre-scripted stuff. We'll get that lot to do voices. They'll come along. They'll come on board.
I'm just imagining, Steve Carell coming back as Brick again.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely.
I love Lamp.
Yeah. That's his only line. That's the only one. We couldn't actually get him to do any more lines, so that's the only thing he says. It does get a bit repetitive, but come on, it's funny every time. I mean, I love Lamp. Come on, it's funny every time. And maybe okay. I'll get to work with my man crush, Paul Rudd. Like, he's perfect in everything. Call me.
Call you.
All right, let's go on to the next one. You can choose the next one.
You so want him with that little goatee that he's got in the new Wet Hot American Summer.
Oh yeah, like the long hair, the goatee.
Long hair and the goatee.
It's my look right now, mate, almost. I have more of a beard.
You got a bigger goatee. Yeah. Okay,
King
so
of the camp.
My choice now. So I'm going to go with one from Sam Harkin, prior guest of the show.
Yes.
We're going to go with the horror movie Rubber.
Yeah, this is a good one.
So, for those who have never seen the movie Rubber, I thoroughly recommend that you
I think we watched it together, hey? The Boys Weekend?
No, we never actually got around to watching it on there. I
watched it when I was in Canada.
But good movie anyway. Yeah. It's about a homicidal rubber tire.
Yes. And when we say homicidal, we mean this tire can literally kill people with psychic powers.
Yes.
So it's kind of perfect for a video game because it's about driving, sort of, and killing things.
Yeah. So you've played Overwatch, right?
Mm-hmm.
One of the characters, Junkrat.
Yeah.
He has like this rip tire.
Yep.
Ultimate
yep.
that he basically just launches this tire out and you can just drive it around. It moves quite fast and then it can explode. Well, I'm thinking it's basically a game based off that mechanic of you're driving the tire around.
Yeah, obviously. You're going to get some good
speed, at high speed.
Some really good physics. Well, it's always at high speed. I mean, you can get up to high speeds if you go down a hill.
You can get up to high speeds then.
Yeah.
You can do like some stealth missions in which you got to get through this
minefield,
through this junkyard without being caught by, I don't know,
the rubber bandits. I don't know. That's a pretty good pun though. Come on, the rubber bandits. Like, that's awesome.
It was pretty good. It was pretty.
I didn't realize till I said it. Yeah, well, because I'm thinking not only good sort of steering mechanics. You know, obviously you can't, when you're a single tire, you can't steer too sharp or you fall onto your side. You can't get up.
It's sort of like a leaning sort of thing.
Yeah, you have to lean.
In that.
But I'm thinking it's got to be good bouncing mechanics too. Like if you drop far, then you're going to get a good bounce going on.
Yep.
And so that can be used.
You've got to like really hit in the middle of like your tread. Otherwise you get knocked.
Yeah, you go off at a weird angle and fall over.
Yeah.
I can't remember. Could the tire in Rubber pick itself back up if it fell onto its side? I assume so.
I'm going to say yes.
Just take some time. You might get attacked.
I'm again picturing like a third person sort of game.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. I don't think you'd want to do first person. You get really sick. It's like Sky Road, Sky Road, Sky Road, Sky Road.
So it's VR.
Oh, God. No. Right.
It's VR and you just throw
up. It's just a vomit.
Okay, so no, you at the start I'm thinking that would this be good to be before the movie or after them?
I mean, I don't particularly remember the plot of the movie, so
either way, you're not very powerful at the start, you're very powerful at the end.
Yeah.
So at the start you can only use your psychic powers to sort of
like move things or knock something
move things
over.
out of the way, and I'm thinking like one of my favorite ideas for a video game, but not my favorite video game. Remember the Star Wars
Force Unleashed?
The Force Unleashed.
Yes. Yeah. Yes. Well, and that built off those sort of like picking up and psychic games where you pick things up and can move them. Like I think was it Psyops on the original Xbox.
Yeah.
That's the first one I remember that really did that well. And you could do things like pick up a guy and then like do a running jump or something and kick him out of the air. Things like that. I think so.
Yeah. Cool stuff.
Yeah. So yeah, I agree. Those sort of, I like that combination of that style of like psychic manipulation of your world and yeah, like then obviously the sort of tire mechanics.
But again, I don't want any game where, if your character is getting more powerful and things are getting easier for the character, for the player, don't just start putting in things that stop you from doing the things that you're loving to do.
On the show.
I know, I have, but
yeah.
But it really, really pisses me off. So therefore, in this game, you get powerful. How do you counter that from a game design perspective? You throw more people at you to do more shit with,
and also thumbtacks on the road because
Yeah, and well, not just thumbtacks. I'm thinking, maybe a full spike strip.
Yeah.
And if you get a good
That's
bounce
actually the
going,
villain's name.
You can.
Oh shit! It's Spike Strypp. He's found us.
So in this game, are you going to have like? I kind of would love it if this was a cooperative game.
Okay, 2 tires. We each control one half of the tire. It's like, all right, I'm going to press up, you press down, and then we just have to alternate. So get rolling.
No, what I'm thinking is that I'm thinking 2 tires.
Yeah.
You've got one made of rubber, and
okay.
I'm thinking maybe the other one is like an old wagon wheel.
It's the wagon wheel.
So it's got that sort of wood with maybe a metal outside, so it's sort of like...
So it's not going to get stopped by Spike Strypp and his spike strips. It's just going to roll right over.
But it may get damaged by like fire.
Right.
So...
and it's just it doesn't have as good traction. It can't go up hills as well.
It can't bounce.
It'll just
crack.
shatter. If it falls too far.
However, it's really, really thin, so it can get in between like cracks to.
And you can have some really good like pro moves where there is somewhere that the wooden wheel tire needs to get across, but it needs to bounce to get over there, but it can't. So what you have to do is put the rubber one down the bottom and have it bounce off the rubber one. Like it provides the trampoline.
Yeah. Yeah, you got some fun things like that. I kind of like the idea that, early on in the game, you actually have, what was the rubber tire's name? Robert the tire. He finds
Wendy,
like
the
his
wagon
old
wheel.
grandpappy. Oh, yeah. Old grandmother then, Wendy the wagon wheel. And they're going, basically, he finds out that, Wendy is going to be set on fire. So,
right. So he saves her.
He goes and saves her. And then
they go off on their adventure
and,
together.
Yeah, the tutorial is basically save Wendy, and then the rest of the game is, one person plays Wendy, one person plays Robert, and you're trying to defeat Spike Strypp.
Yeah. And his sidekick, Axyl Grease.
Oh God.
Next.
Yeah, so I reckon that'd be a pretty fun game. Okay, what's your next choice?
All right. Let's see. Maybe. So I'm gonna go with another one of Michael Jones' suggestions. We got a bunch of suggestions, but they actually just both came from Michael Jones and Sam. So thanks, guys. That was awesome. We'd like more from more people next time, but it's given us some good fodder. Life as a house. Now, this is a challenge. I haven't actually seen the movie.
Neither have I.
So we're going to go, and I have sort of an idea of what it's about, but I think we're just going to go with the title.
Yeah.
And now I feel like we've kind of done games similar to this before. I think there was one with a gramophone, but was I even there for that?
No, you weren't there for that.
That was you guys. But anyway, sort of a similar thing where you literally play the house throughout its lifetime from the time it was built in 1947. It's a pretty old house.
Okay, that's pretty new.
Well, I mean, I don't know how far back you want to go, because that's a lot of content. Then I'm thinking you just want a few. You want a bunch of families coming through, or maybe it's used as a like meth lab for a while. And it's just the challenges around that.
So you as a house, what can you do to these families?
You can creak. You can
press X to creak.
You've got mild control over your windows until they replace the shuttered windows with like actual glass panes properly, like proper.
Mm-hmm.
You can slightly shift your stairs to make people fall down them. No, I don't know. I'm not. maybe you're not like I don't know if it's necessarily you're playing an anthropomorphic house. It's just some sort of gameplay across the lifetime of this house, and seeing the different people coming through there. Maybe it's almost, and I'm not saying go full on Sims, but maybe it's sort of got aspects of, you get to see the day-to-day life of some of this, and maybe it is around just like decorations and I don't know. It sounds really boring now. There's got to be something fun we can do with it.
Okay, so the tutorial level is literally you're learning that you can have fun with things like creaking and all that sort of stuff. But what actually happens is that you scare one of the kids and they fall down the stairs and they get killed.
Okay.
And from then on, you as the house actually have control over the poltergeist or the ghost of the kid. So you have to try and help the family get over the grief and then continue through. But your only sort of outlet after that is like the ghost.
So I'm thinking that's I like that idea a lot. I don't know if you should have direct control of the ghost. I feel like if you're doing this, you should play the house. And you have these really limited things you can do where you can slightly shift on your foundations. You can creak a little bit. I don't know. Wow. What else can a house do?
You can bleed out of the walls.
Well, what I'm almost thinking is, so the tutorial, there's this little boy dies, and then this ghost becomes your companion. And I'm imagining dialogue trees where literally it's like creak, slam windows, say nothing, slight breeze. But through that, the boy like provides exposition and about himself and about you as a house. But then, so you could go multiple ways with this. You could go the nice way, and it is about doing little things. Like maybe you can create slight breezes by opening windows to like affect things in your space, and maybe you can even somehow influence it so things are put in the right place so that they're in a position for you to be. That you've got a good breezeway that comes through here when you slightly open this window, or you could make it slam a door because of the pressure change.
Mm-hmm.
But you have to make sure that they put things in the right place.
In other words, you're trying to inadvertently create the most awesome Rube Goldberg machine.
Yeah, basically. Well, you've only got a few inputs, but they can become many outputs depending on the order you do them in and stuff. So you could go that way, and it is about this family dealing with the loss of their child, and then their other child grows up and moves into the family, and it moves into the house and has their own kids there, and then they move away, and then the meth lab comes in. But the other way you could go.
Oh, the meth lab is where the house gets really vindictive, and
I was going to say the other way you could go is maybe it's that anybody who dies in the house becomes a ghost, and they're your resources then. So you're literally trying to kill people to like get this great army of ghosts, and then they give you more control over things. So maybe it is this Rube Gold, because they can affect things slightly too, right? They can like freeze things or blow on things. Going Thimbleweed Park style here, but they've got a limited sort of limited ways they can push things off of shelves. And so that becomes part of your Rube Goldberg machine as well. And so the more of them you have, the more, like, the larger you can make these machines as these different things get set off at different times.
Mm-hmm.
But, you've got choices for who you could kill. And if you kill too many people, then nobody's going to move into the house ever again, right? Because it gets a reputation.
And then it turns into a meth lab earlier.
And then it's just a meth lab. And you can kill all the fucking meth cookers as well, but then
all they want to do when they become ghosts is still cook meth.
Well, no, I was going to say, because like you kill all the meth cookers,
ghostly meth,
ghost meth. No, but if you kill all the meth cooking guys, then your house blows up, right? Because their meth lab is still going and it like explodes. So yeah, it's about creating this balance of who you kill, and you start getting attached to these people. They're living in you for decades at a time. I'm not sure how. I don't think we'll do real time, but some sort of representative sample of events.
In the past 45 minutes, 33 people have died.
Real time. Why were they even? They're having a big party. Chandelier dropped on them.
So maybe it's one of those things that the house doesn't really want to kill the people living inside them if they're well behaved. But if someone rips up a floorboard and damages the house in some way, then they sort of get marked for death.
So it's like purely selfish. It's not if they punch someone in the house or are abusing them in some way. That's fine. But if they tear a piece of wallpaper off, you are fucked. You are dead. You are dead to me. I'm going to kill you. You're going to become part of my ghost army. Fuck you all.
They slam the door and they punch a hole in the wall. Bang! They're now on the blacklist.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. No. I like that idea. I think, and yeah, there's obviously choice in who you kill, and presumably, there are moral decisions to be made around that, and maybe that could actually affect how the ghosts work together. If you just kill the little boy's mum, then she's not going to help you because that's just a horrible thing to do, and she's already lost her son, and then you go and kill her.
Yeah.
She's just either going to leave or she's going to be sabotaging the things you try to do from then on. And so maybe there's a bit of a balance between the ghosts who want to work with you and the ghosts who want to work against you. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I like it.
Let's go.
Okay, we'll just do one last quick one.
Yeah, okay. Your choice now.
I know.
Choose. Do.
I so want to pick another one from Sam, but I'm looking at them and I go, no, there's a great one from well, there is one, but I don't think it's a movie. Is that enough?
Could do that enough. Well, what sort of game would that enough make?
Oh, I don't know.
It's a drink pouring simulator.
I'm loving this idea from Michael of Memento.
Memento, yeah, okay. So if you haven't watched Memento, spoilers incoming, because the plot of the movie is going to be obviously a big part of the gameplay in a game around Memento. So are you thinking we actually base it on the life of the main character whose name was something sort of like when this Wikipedia page loads?
Basically, it's a movie. It's a movie where your character only has X amount of
short-term
memory.
Yeah, you don't have any long-term. Can't make new long-term memories. So you remember the things that have happened in the last n minutes, 2 minutes, 5 minutes, something like that.
So I'm thinking what will happen, just like in the movie. I'm not thinking continue all the way through. It's an adventure game where you actually you start at the end where you've just captured the person that you're looking for, and then as you go back, you're setting yourself up to learn those things that you knew in that first scene.
Yeah. Okay, that's good. So I'm thinking maybe we don't even follow the story of the film.
No,
have those characters.
It doesn't have to be that.
It's just the general idea. It's an adventure game where you have the same condition that Guy Pearce's character in Memento had.
Yep.
And we use the same technique of you view it, you're playing sort of 5-minute segments at a time, and once you finish that segment, you then go to the segment before it to learn what happened that led you to that point.
Yep. And maybe, there was some weird thing that you saw in the middle of the room, and so you pick it up and that happens to be like a murder weapon that you end up killing with someone. But in the scene beforehand, it's not there. So okay, for this scene, I need to somehow get that particular thing to the center, so you sort of know a little bit more.
It's going to be a really interesting design challenge because, basically, the first scene, you're going to have certain things, and if we can go with traditional point-and-click adventure here. So it's going to be a real design challenge because, like the very first scene, you're going to have things in your inventory, right? Now, I'm assuming we're going sort of with the classic point-and-click gameplay. So you've got your inventory and you've got certain things in your inventory. So, and presumably if we go with the similar sort of story where you're trying to find the person who you think murdered whoever.
Your wife.
Yeah, in that it was your wife, but whatever. The final scene, literally maybe the only way to finish it is to kill this person with a weapon that you have in your inventory, right? Mm-hmm. So there's sort of a final dialogue tree, some things they talk about, things that you have no idea about as obviously a player or a character. But you can go through your inventory and you can see. So in the movie, he used tattoos on himself. He used notes to himself. So yeah, this is actually really cool. I'm imagining this first scene. You come into this room. There's somebody tied up. Yep. You've got a knife in your inventory. And there's a note on...
Oh, there's like 15 different notes and it's sort of saying, however many notes you want, it's like, kill this man. You know, he did this bad thing. So you kill him. And then you go back and it's in the previous
switches
scene,
to black and then you're in the previous scene and you see out the window that person pulls up in a car. And you don't have the knife in your inventory now. And that note's not there anymore. And so now to finish this section.
The note is there, so you note that's the man that you need to get. And later on down the track.
Right, there's a point where you have to write that note. Yeah, okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't think it's in the one beforehand because how do you know that's the person? I think that
right,
needs to be
okay. Yeah, I guess that
mystery.
needs to be actually part of it. Like you as a... Yeah, see, what's going to be interesting... So the challenge with this is going to be...
What do you need to get to the next scene?
Well, it is going to be what you need. But there's an aspect of metagaming that's going to, by necessity, happen here, right? Because in the way the movie worked, obviously you as a viewer are seeing, all right, you're seeing the last thing that happened, and you know that he can't remember anything before, and then you're seeing the thing that happened before that, and you know what came next, but he doesn't. Obviously, because it's in the future. But in the game, you as a player are going to have the knowledge of what chronologically has happened after this point.
Yep.
We'd probably have to work that into the design. And I mean, that almost acts as just a hint system, right? Like, Remember
this that happened in that scene? You need to do this as part of this chapter.
Yeah, and I'm not saying directly tell them. I'm just saying that that in the scene before this, you had the knife in your inventory. So this scene's not going to finish until you pick up the knife. But ideally...
I think you could have some more awesome sort of things that sort of occur in each of these scenes that, you end up getting the item that you need in an absurd or a little bit unusual way that you weren't expecting. Yeah. It's not like in this scene you pick up the knife and it's like, well, that's not everything that occurred. Or you pick up the knife that you thought that it was it, but when it appears in your inventory, you see that it's not that same knife.
And then something happens.
Yeah, and you could have, it'd be a lot of work to get it working, but it'd be a
real writing challenge. And I wonder if, I don't know, do you think you'd do the same sort of thing as in the movie where, and again, major spoilers for the movie, the person that you kill at the end is not actually the person who did it? Like I guess you probably wouldn't want to use that same twist necessarily, but something around, there are moments in this where you misinterpret the things you've written earlier because you obviously don't have the knowledge you had when you wrote it. You could even have, no, you couldn't. I was going to say you could even have like branching structures based on, you get choices of slightly different ways to write the same note, except you've already seen the results. So you can't really have that. But you'd
have mini branching things that occur
within sort of a small section. Yeah, because I like this. I like the idea of, because what would probably generally happen is you'd you'd have your little adventure game section, and then you'd probably just have a bit of cutscene that leads directly into where you started on the next one. Or, I mean, sometimes you might get the gameplay all the way up to it, but generally you're going to need to have some sort of conversation or some sort of stuff that plays out based on the things you've now done, and the new knowledge you've gained, and having that reflect on. So now that you have this knowledge, it's going to like reveal new things about the future, basically about the things you've already seen.
Yeah.
That that you can't act on as a player, but as a character, but as a player, you have these revelations about the story. Yeah, definitely. We need a good writer, but that's really cool. I like that.
Yep, so do I. Okay, I think that is all we have time for today, given that we've gone.
You mean you don't want to go for a 2-hour session?
No, no. Okay, thank you all for joining us here on Bitstorm today. You can find us on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. We're Bitstormcast on all of those. You can check us out on iTunes, where you can rate, review, and if you could please subscribe to us there, that'd be great. We'd like to get a few more listens in each week. We have a new website. It's still at bitstormcast.com, but we're now going through the Podiant website.
I think it's pronounced Podiant.
Podiant. It doesn't make sense. We've already talked about this. It's pod, not... Anyway. I don't have an iPod.
You can go ask the developer why he called it that. But anyway, it's a really good service. And we are now with them.
It's really cool. We've just joined up with them. So check out our new website at bitstormcast.com.
That's right. And we'd like to thank Kuridust for the use of the song Mount Defiance from the album Containment Failure. We'd like to plug the Australasian Gaming Podcast Network, a great network that we are part of. We've met some really great people, some new friends on there, and obviously, if you've listened in the past, some guest hosts. I think we'll have some on next week, so that should be good.
Yes, some ones that we've been wanting to get on for a little while. It looks like the stars are aligning to get them on, so very much looking forward to that. Week.
And I would like to plug my new website, Podchaser, which is still in closed beta for a few more weeks, but hopefully we will be going to open beta soon. In the meantime,
it's only because he's not actually had enough time to do any work on it, because he's got his normal job to do now.
Yes. Day jobs, they're rich. But in the meantime, if you want to get in during the beta, you can use the key Bitstorm, all one word, and go there. Search for Bitstorm on there, and any other podcast you'd like. You can rate, review, save your podcasts there, and we've got a lot of great new features coming up in the next little while. So check it out.
Awesome. Well, I'm Trevor Scott.
I'm Ben Slinger.
I'd play that.